All right, what's up, you guys? Good to see all of you. Oh man, Sean was here in the quickness. In the quickness, we got Ashley coming on too.
Yes.
Hey!
What up?
We finally make it happen. I think me and you, Ashley, have been talking about doing a podcast for how long now?
A long time. Like
What's
we're
a
trying to
long
find out
time?
like over a year.
I know. We're finally getting a chance to do it, and we're gonna allow people to kind of funnel in here. And a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. One thing I was actually just thinking about, Ashley, was, and we'll kind of get into this a little bit as the podcast goes on, but
Yeah.
you just met Sean, and what me and Sean talk a lot about is marketing and how, like, fear is a crazy tactic that the media uses to promote certain narratives or like push certain things. So, like,
Yeah.
what we are talking about is like the whole Trump thing. They're like basically dividing people using emotions, right? And what I thought was interesting, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about this, is like how emotion plays a big role in people's actions and what
Oh
they
yeah.
do. And I know I want to kind of segue over into what you do so that the people in this TikTok live can kind of get a sense of what brings us all together. Because obviously, I talk a lot about finance, which there's a lot of emotion that goes into finance. Sean does a lot of marketing, so he does marketing for small businesses, and obviously he markets to emotion. But you're a relationship coach, and that ties a lot into emotion. So let's talk a little bit about that. Now, how have you noticed, how much emotion plays into what you do, and how that kind of whole system leads to people's relationships and kind of how that goes? So let's just jump right into the podcast. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah. So essentially, people are, having relationship problems, right? And they're struggling internally, mentally, emotionally. There's just a lot of things that are at play, right? So
Right.
they come across someone like me, right? And I have all this knowledge about relationships, right? Because I've been studying it for a long time, several years of trying to figure out my own questions, right? And then you just develop this like huge overview of like what goes into relationships, attachment theory, battles, stuff like that, arguments,
Right.
and just all the things that would be at play, right? So as a coach, right, people come to me because they're in need, right? They're hurting. They're like, I don't know what to do. This has been a really difficult situation for me. I need help. I want somebody that has a non-biased opinion, a third party, right? A lot of people like, sometimes like the first thing that they'll say to me is, my friends and my family are sick of talking to me. I want to talk to somebody that doesn't really know me, doesn't know my ex, or doesn't know my partner, and can just share, kind of what I think based on the situation, right? So yeah, so it's interesting because I would say that feeling is kind of like the marketing, right? Like that's
Right.
how they're feeling in those moments is what can lead them to me, right? A lot of times the algorithm just figures out that they're going through a breakup, and then bam, my videos pop up.
The algorithm. So before I bring Sean in, first and foremost, I want to welcome everybody to this TikTok live. We're doing something a little bit different. So me and Sean is my co-host. We have the the Market Moguls podcast. So we've been doing it since about March or so. And one thing that me and Sean were kind of talking about was how when we're on a podcast, it's basically just mine and his point of view, and it's not very interactive, right? So we want to make it more normal for when we're doing podcasts to have feedback in the comments, right? So this is going to be not only us here, we have a finance expert, a marketing expert, a relationships expert.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, but we want you guys' feedback on it too. That's the whole point to this. We're bringing a new type of vibe to podcasting and how it's going to be done moving forward. So Sean, I know you got a lot to talk about. Sean is the man. You guys met him on the last podcast. Sean, why don't you tell him a little bit about what you do, and then, we'll kind of jump right into everything.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, absolutely. Beautiful.
Sensational. I'm going to consider you guys half meeting me until I'm able to get to 1,000, and then I can go ahead and have my videos up. So I already talked to my editor. I was like, we're going to devote all the time, energy, and effort to TikTok so we can go ahead and hit that had thousands peak and beyond, because I think this
Sure.
is something I'm excited to do these a lot more, especially interactive face of everything, because it just makes things a lot more interesting, and then gets more people involved, and makes more people want to stick along, and overall just be more interactive with the community of what we're building collectively. But my first thought as you're talking, Ashley, I was thinking about the emotion side of things. Do you? How am I going to say this? When it comes to those when it comes to those that you work with, objectively, how well are people taking the feedback of what you're saying? Is it always typically very straightforward as far as what they hear, or are they pretty receptive, being that it's a new pair of eyes, a new perspective when you're coaching people through, in this case, their relationship or the emotions that they're dealing with?
No, that's a good question. I mean, it's different all the time. Some people take it well and they're like, okay, I got a game plan. Thank you. I can go do that now, right? And I have a new way to view my situation and therefore, pursue it moving forward. But then some people I think have a more difficult time. I think that there's a level of stubbornness I think that we all might have as humans. But one
Right,
thing that as a coach that I try to do, right? Because like even like the definition of a coach is someone that offers like a different perspective of what your already big thoughts were, right?
right,
So this client that I might have is going about the situation in one way, right? But then they talk to me and I'm like, I don't think what you're doing is working. I don't think that that's right. I think you should do this instead. Maybe you should try that, right? Sometimes that can be a little bit like, oh, okay. So, right? It can be like a little bit of a stab on the pride. But a lot of times by the end of the call, at least like what I try to do is to explain the why. This is why I want you to do this. And this is why what you're doing right now is not working for you. This is why we're on a call right now, if that makes sense. So it really does kind of vary. Some people take it well, some people don't. But I think that it's just a little bit more of a learning curve for some
right.
people because they're not used to getting coached.
Gotcha. No, I'm glad you said that, because what my next thought, and to kind of tie into, I guess before I even get into that, yeah, I've been marketing for 8, 9, 10 years. I've known me and Rick know each other since
It's like 2012 at least,
2015,
right? Like
2016,
2012
technically
something.
2015, because that's when Eric came to Michigan, and then and then he had left. But one thing that plays a part into all of our work, because is the common thing that I'm thinking about. We all have to not only manage our own emotions, but we have to manage a lot of people's. We have to help people navigate their own emotions, which I think is very interesting. Whether it be with finances, whether it be with, for me, in marketing, setting expectations with clients where they pay me, and I have to get. I've learned I have to get very precise on the expectations, and essentially me managing expectation is regulating, or steering, however you want to look at it, their emotions. And then for you, it's like, how do I deal with the emotions? But I think it's really interesting, because a lot of people only just spew emotions. A lot of people don't sit in like dealing with their emotions, which is an interesting perspective. Even with this TikTok live, like I was watching a video, the former CEO of Twitter, he was talking about giving people like free will. He's talking about the algorithm. Like, we don't even control the things that we like. It's like we're being programmed, almost to a literal thing, from the algorithm of the things, especially like TikTok. TikTok's algorithm is insanely good, but it's almost it's a crazy way to look at it. Like, my first thought is like control, but it's an interesting device to know that people's emotions are fluctuating based off of an algorithm. But I don't know. It's really interesting to know that dynamic, and then our job is to manage the emotions of the people that we work with in times of the business world. So I don't really have a question in that sense, but I think that's something I would like to. I don't know, make verbal in this sense, because it's something that we don't necessarily think about until we have these contexts of conversation. And I don't know, it's very powerful. It's very powerful. It's a big responsibility. It's like a movie. It's like almost being able to, like, when you go to the movies, you feel a certain emotion. When you get on the call with somebody, your their emotions that are all time high, all time low, or they stay steady, and that typically gives direction of how their day might go, how it might go for the better or for worse. But I don't know. It's really interesting. I don't know. That's something I had on my brain right there, so I had to share that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I think it's so interesting too, Sean, kind of building off that a little bit is like, I was talking to you earlier, Ashley, about how you've grown so fast on TikTok. Like I've seen nothing like it. And you have like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have like little to no marketing experience, really. It's just
Yeah, I
like
know.
what I've noticed is you play really well to understanding people and their emotions. And I think that ties in directly with what Sean's talking about. Like when you think about the situation that you're going through, for me, obviously it's finance, for you, it's relationships, for Sean, it's business.
Yep.
If you can cater to somebody's emotions and you can put yourself in their shoes and make them feel heard, I think that's when like you start to like really connect with people, number one, but then people want to also follow you too, because it's like finally this person understands me, right? So like what would you say like the thing is that you notice so much in your content that speaks to people that's helped you like grow so fast? Because like I'm watching your page almost every day. It's like, I'll be honest with you, Ashley, it's kind of like slightly stalkerish because I'm like, bro, she went from like 100,000 to 150 in like 2 weeks. Like Sean, I know Sean talks to me all the time, and he's like, "Bro, how did you do it?" Like, I just stayed consistent. For you,
Yes.
you just got on a fucking rocket ship, and you're like, "Let's go! Like, let's do this thing to the moon."
Literally.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what have you noticed has worked for you so well, and like, how is it? Do you feel like it's more of a culture thing? Do you think it's a community thing? Like, what do you think is attributed to the success so much for you?
Yeah. What's the tea? What's the tea?
What's the sauce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the sauce?
So I think that one of the things is obviously when I very first started doing this, yes, I was new to it. I had a couple of videos take off that I wasn't expecting. Noticed that people liked what I said. So I thought, okay, well, I'm about to share more knowledge. Like I have more videos, right? So I kind of just started slow and started kind of gaining over time. I think once I reached that 100,000 mark, I will say it got a little easier. I think that the videos and the viewage and all those things, I think kind of started to do the work for me. But yes, consistency over everything. It's constantly having to put up content, responding to comments, engaging with your audience. I go live all the time, like this, right? And I talk to my people and answer their questions and stuff like that. One thing that I will say, I think though, has been like probably the most, I would say, transformative part. Is I feel like I found my people's pain point. And
Mm.
when you find the pain point, you take that and you run with it. So anytime that I'm on the call with somebody, okay, anybody I ever talk to, I'm like, what would you want to see more of from me? Like, I want to hear from you because you booked with me, so I want to know what else can I do to make you feel better, right? My goal with every single video I post is that somebody watches this and they feel better about their situation. I'm not trying to make them feel worse. I'm not trying to slam them for what they did wrong. I just say things will get better. They should get better. Try this, try this. And the more that they're realizing that they feel better after watching my content, I'll get a follow. I'm gonna keep watching my videos. I'm gonna get likes, saves, downloads, follows, all those things because I want to make them feel better based on that. So that kind of ties back into that whole feeling thing because that's really when I started seeing my progress skyrocket. It was like, okay, like this is my goal for every single piece of content that I'm putting up. That answers your question.
Oh no, it answers my question.
No.
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
No,
I'm sorry.
no, I love that because for me, when I do advertisements for clients, my biggest metric is just the consumption. Like my priority is the consumption of the content of whatever we mail. Because one of the things that we do is we film advertisements for our clients, and so for me, I'm always thinking about what does the consumer want to hear. In this case, like I'm working with a chiropractor in Queen Creek, and so we film like 5 days of content, and now we've got dozens and dozens and dozens of clips, 2 minutes here for YouTube, 1 minute here, 30 seconds there. And the consumption of the video is what I'm paying attention to from the drop off, from the start to the drop off. And then that gives me data of if something's really good for me, if a video is like a minute long and I know that if I know we're getting 65% of people, let's say out of 1,000 are watching 85% or more of the video, I'm like, we're gonna keep that because some of those people are revisiting, some of those are unique followers. So some people are consuming it and they've got their hand. I know I wish you could see me, but they got their hand on their chin and they're like, I'm considering what they're talking about and whatever action they want me to take. So in the same sense of you investing into your community, and all you guys do it, like that's why I'm so pumped because I've done it before on other platforms. And so TikTok is the next. I've done in terms of like Rick Miss Manual, a bunch of other things, Stick Chicks, so many other brands. So I'm like, okay, now I have to do it for myself to give value, and then I got to learn their pain points so I'm able to provide as much value when I'm on the platform live and then when I'm off. Because I'm sure there's a certain, I don't know, there's a certain sense of pride that you get every time you wake up. You know that you got a certain amount of impressions, but you're getting the consumption. Like when someone saves your stuff, you're like, oh, they want to watch that. It's like I don't know, it's a good feeling because you want to genuinely help people as opposed to just the post. So it's I don't know, it's heroic in a sense. I think that's really cool that right there from what I do to what you guys do all together. I don't know. It's very purposeful. I love when I know that I'm helping people and they're paying more because it's something you got to knock down before you didn't necessarily know what was going to hit, right? You just knew
Yeah.
based off of the feedback you got after being consistent.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting that you mentioned that, Sean, because it's like me and you talk a lot about the TikTok ban, right? And I know
Yeah.
Ashley has texted me furiously about is TikTok going away, but
Oh my
I
god.
mean, I could talk about it all day. You guys know there's no possible way that this thing goes like. There's no way that to take it away. There's 0% chance. You cannot convince me otherwise. But what I think is interesting is like you're so used to marketing, Sean, on different platforms from like Facebook to Instagram to I don't know if you do X or not. I know you're doing YouTube stuff like that. What
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed is it's totally different. Like the way that you have to market and catch virality in those social medias as compared to TikTok is so much different. And the reason why is because of the algorithm, period. I think like what I've noticed personally is you have to catch trends on here as soon as you possibly can. Like things catch on so fast here and ideas spread so fast that that's the reason why we're seeing all this pushback against TikTok is because from a media standpoint, if you look at it, it's like the media tries so hard to control things. They want to control the way news is kind of projected to you, the things you can say, the narratives that are painted, all of that stuff. But when you get people like us on here that can spread ideas quickly, and get information out really quick, and the algorithm is just totally ridiculous, like totally ridiculous.
Oh
It's
yeah.
one of those things that like once you understand it, Sean,
Mm-hmm.
it works to your advantage big time because it's like it speaks to what Ashley says is it's like once you find those messages that resonate with your audience, it's
Yep.
like you'll just catch lightning in a bottle. You'll know exactly what to say. You'll know how to get people's attention. Then it's just like boom, the views are crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like I know for me, it was kind of like an accident. I was just like, I'm just going to make content and have fun with this and just kind of like take the educational route. But what I
Yep.
noticed, kind of coming full circle with the entire thing, is the emotional side of it. If you can really capture people's emotion, that's what gets people like, oh, let me stick around to watch this video and see what it's about. You know what I mean? So it's like, I noticed for me personally, and that's why I love the idea that we have going on with this TikTok live right now. And if you guys are in this TikTok live, this is a community-based TikTok live, right? We want your feedback. We want your opinions. We want your questions in the chat. So make sure that you are dropping them in there. But when I'm making my videos, what I noticed was, and I know me and you, Sean, we talked a lot about this. I stopped giving my opinion on things. Like I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
have the open community where it was okay to ask the question, but it was
Yeah.
also okay to have those open-ended discussions. So like I think for me what really changed the game was when I would present a question at the end. So it's like I would capture with emotion and then at the end I'd leave my content open for interpretation. Like how do you view this? Like I want to hear your side of it.
Does
And
that
I think
play?
like for me that's what's worked the best.
Does that play a part for you, Ashley? Like, because I was seeing your videos, and I was curious to know, do you make decisions based off of what's trending, or you kind of just stay intuitively with what you feel like works?
Yeah, so that's a great question because I think that as of recent, actually like very, very recent, I keep getting these like notifications that there's like these creator insight tools and that and now I keep seeing those videos. And so I've been looking into it to see, okay, like it's basically like hashtags and stuff that would like, give me more views. But honestly, I know what works for my audience. Like I know what my
Right.
people need. So I just every now and then I have to throw up like one of my kind of like oldie but goodies, right? That I sort of redo. And I actually told Coach Rick to do recently. I was like, go back to like some
Coach
of the old
Rick.
and reignite them, because if you go back to kind of what took off first, and you even kind of like even like the one I just did, I kind of did a recent like spin on an old video, and I kind of added some flavor to it so that maybe it would launch again. I got just as many views, if not more. And I sort of added more because I've learned more since I've been doing this. So I would say that like I don't like to go down so that the trend way. I really listen to my people. Like, what do they want? I look at the
Right.
keywords. I really study my analytics like to a T. Like, I know that my audience is primarily females. I know that my biggest audience is in Houston. Like, I even just like I'll even just hashtag like Houston, like just to kind of keep that going, right? But you really just have to plug into what is working for you and stay. I mean, consistency is probably like the only word I can use to describe how you can
How do
keep.
you go about your content? Do you batch it or do you do like something every day? Because some people like to make all the videos in one day, and or do you go like every day in terms of filming?
So yeah, so I used to do every single day. Like sometimes I'm so busy as a coach. I mean, like I have about 8 to 10 calls, text, video calls. I have all of them a day. So on a day like that, I'm a little too winded to throw up a video. But what I try to do is if I have a content creating day, if I have like a free morning or a free evening, I'll record 2 or 3 and then I'll spread them out. But my
Right.
goal is to try to do at least 1 to 3 a day. That's my goal. Do I always hit that goal? No, but I try to.
You
Consistency.
you record 3 videos a day?
Sometimes, yes.
What?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not putting in enough work now.
well, so okay. I make sure that your videos are a minute or longer because they're automatically gonna get more views. And what I do is I'll basically like record, like I'll get to like the 2-3 minute mark, stop, and start a new one, stop, and start a new one. So like within the course of 10 minutes, I've basically recorded 2 to 3 videos, and then I just casually throw them up throughout the day. It takes me a second to edit too because I use CapCut for captions because I like the kind of popping out at 2 captions.
Oh yeah.
And I use the same hashtags for every single video, and that
Like I
has
own
Do
that.
you really?
yeah, use like the same like 18 hashtags for every single video. And again, everything's like the same, right? I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over. Every now and then, I will say I do try to kind of stir away a little bit, like, oh, let me talk about this topic that's not really my niche. Super low views.
Yeah.
So I know my niche. I know what people want from me. So
No,
I
that's good
just
though. That's what I was gonna ask you next because it's like it's good that you're doing what works, but it's like you have to at some point, just like when it comes to people coming to you for coaching, it's like you got what's the line of coaching yourself to try something new? What's that 80/20? Is it 80% all the time and then 20% let's try something new? Because you don't want to go stale at the same time, or maybe delivering your content in a different way where you're like, okay, let me try to talk to myself like people do when they're like trying to impersonate another person to actually directly talk to the camera because there's so many different styles and it's like okay, find out what works and then what's that range of trying something new, like how big is that threshold? I know it's just kind of open-ended question because like of course double down is working, but like at some point social media moves so fast, like what was it called, the plank, what was the plank trend that happened?
Oh yeah, that planking stuff back like 10 years
Like
ago or whatever.
yeah, like that was like the regular cadence of a trend. It happened like all year, but now a year's trend is 5 days in TikTok, bro, which is crazy.
You
so
just
fast.
went back 10 years for marketing, bro. Like we're TikTok, I swear to you, like is so wild to me. It's like the wild wild west because it's literally like I almost feel like this is the new way of marketing stuff. Like I don't know how TikTok built their algorithm, but it's absolute genius. Like absolute because whatever people are talking about in the moment is what's going to catch.
Oh, it
That's what I've
hits.
noticed for my content. Is like if I can cater to what's happening right now, like I had a video hit 100,000 yesterday. I know that's an everyday thing for you, Ashley.
She's like,
Okay.
what? I did that yesterday.
But I had a video hit 100,000 yesterday, and it was because like I got a text message, and I was like, I have to make this video right now, and it was
Yeah.
like first to market type stuff. But
Yes.
that's what I've noticed for me, like how good the algorithm is like if you're first to talk about something, you're gonna catch. If you
Yeah.
wait even 24 hours, you're late to the party, and it's already over.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Like even when when Trump got that's charged. That's what even that video that I made talking about like guys, listen, they're gonna try to emotionally pull you. I don't care what side of the party you're at. That one alone got 2,000 views. That I just checked because I don't check TikTok enough. I try not to be on it because I had a phase where I was just on it and then I got lost in it. So I'll just jump on there to post and then comment. But that video happened hours after the trial. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, I got to just be fast on giving these intuitive thoughts organically. Yeah.
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 Interesting.
Yeah, I think, and kind of even to what you were saying before about like changing it up or doing that kind of thing. I think that it's just like kind of like what Rick said. I'll have an idea, or I'll just think of something. I'm like, oh, this is something that they just asked me out on a call, and I'm like, oh, let
Mm.
me go research that real quick. And I know it's spicy, like it's tea. I'm like, people are gonna want to hear this. And sometimes I won't even like. I try to like. I'll be honest with you guys. Okay, we'll keep it real in here. I try to get ready, right? Like the hair, the makeup, and everything for the video.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I want to like look the part, right? Like, I want to look nice. Like I actually like. I tell my people to be put together, so I should be right. But sometimes it's just one of those moments. You just got the hair up, no makeup, we're just
Let's
chilling. I'm like,
go.
my bitch,
Respect.
and boom,
Respect, Ashley.
that one
Respect.
will explode, and it's just like you just never know like what TikTok's going to throw out into the whole abyss for you. But a lot of times it's crazy how sometimes it's my lower effort ones, which I'm kind of like, are you serious? I put so much more work in.
That's
And
why you
this
gotta
one,
have zero expectation. The outcome's gotta be so zen, and that's where I'm learning from myself because I'm like I finally committed to my own brand, and then I'm like I just need to put it out volume and
yeah,
not even can't be committed to the process. I had a thought really quick. What was it? I had a few of them. The first thought was like, have you ever thought about doing a pop up shop in Houston for somebody, say for the people there? And then what was the next one? It was damn it, I had a good one. Let's just start with that. And then I had a couple of them, but that's the one thing that's the one that I remember right now. And then I'm done.
yeah. So one of the things I want to do, this is kind of like just within like the coaching aspect of things, is I want to do basically a conference like in Houston because I know I have so many people there. I know that I would probably get people to come and listen to me, like speak in person. It'd be a chance to meet people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that is in the works now. Have I done that? No. Do I even have any clue where it's going to be? No. Have I even really like looked into that? No. But it's definitely something that's like up here. Like
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
That'll be killer for you. Be
Yeah.
yeah,
killer. And
Honestly, I
then,
was just literally thinking about this, Ashley. Like what you could do. And Dan, what's up? Appreciate the comment. Hope you're doing well. Hope your health is good. So, and what I was just thinking about, Ashley, what you would kill it with
and the
is
man.
literally creating a community. Like if you created a community with meetups, that shit would go ridiculous. Because like I think about your niche, and it's like I'm not surprised that you do as well as you do because like you have people that are like fresh out of breakups or like are really like their heart is already like either longing for somebody or was just broken or whatever. And what they need at that time is support more than anything. Like they need people around them that are like helping them rebuild that confidence, that like letting them know like it's okay to feel the way that you're feeling, right? And so like for me, I just look at that whole thing for you, like that would go absolutely ridiculous if
Yeah,
you
that's
did
big
some sort of
leverage.
community.
Yeah, that's big. That's big leverage. Like even I was just thinking about because I see a lot of like craziness on my side of things in terms of relationships. I see all polarities, so I'm always interested in everything. So like
yeah,
oh yeah, that goes to my next. That goes what I forgot. So the like if you like I don't know if you've done it before, but I just discovered this trend of would you rather be in the woods with a man or a bear? Are you familiar with that?
no.
No.
Oh my
No, but interesting
god,
thought. Let's go down that rabbit hole, Sean. Let's talk about
it's
that.
Now I'm
crazy.
interested.
It's just propaganda. Again, this is my thought process. So take what you will, but
Okay.
it's a trend where people are asking like, would you rather be in the woods with a bear or a man? And it's basically it's ultra modernized feminism. So it's basically making a case in point where a lot of women are saying in this trend inside this hole is I would rather be in the woods with the bear because the bear at least kill me or off me. Let me be filtering my words versus a man because a man could do this and do that as far as men being these beasts that they are, quote unquote. So, and then a lot of husbands or a lot of wives are asking their husbands like, if we had a daughter, what would you rather have her be in the woods with a man or a bear? And then those that choose bear, they're like, why would you choose a bear? And he's like, because I could be that man in the woods with her, because they're trying to paint it as the negative light of what, like every man isn't good. Like there's a lot of bad men out here, or all men are bad per se. But it's like super interesting. But going back to that, I was saying that'd be some content. That's content that a lot of people fall into when it comes to when they have a very exaggerated, or not exaggerated, or a high emotional event in their life when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people get stuck in that. And I see Coach Ashley as someone that's like, don't fall into that rabbit hole. Don't do it because I know your emotions might be telling you to do it, but that's where your emotions can take over where you aren't even necessarily listening to yourself. You're just letting the algorithm consume you where Ashley's like, wait, I know you saw this video and I know you would rather the bear versus the man and man are trash, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And you need to focus on healing yourself as opposed to trying to make it an external issue when it's more so an internal issue. I don't know. That's if you made a video on that. I don't know if you have, but if you should, I definitely think you should look that up. And
Yeah.
you made a conversation about it on based on the content you do.
Yeah.
I want to see. I don't think that'll blow up for sure because that's something that's trending like right now. It's crazy. Like bear versus man, like it's literally if you just look up, would you rather be in the woods with a bear or a man, or yeah, bear or man? You'll have a whole thread pop up on, especially on TikTok.
Well, I think what's interesting, Sean, like this is where my brain went as you were telling that story, is how like I people kind of fear those emotions, and it doesn't matter what sector you're in, finance for me, relationships for Ashley, business for you, right?
Yep.
People tend to avoid emotions, but like I
Yeah.
think if people got to a spot where they learned to appreciate the emotions they had, they would have a much better experience just in life in general. I mean, like, that's the point to, like, the life that we live and the existence that we live is to feel every single emotion, good or bad, and not run away from it because
And
every
Rick, you
single
said people. Rick, you said people run away from them.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Just
Like, how many people like if I just look at it from a finance aspect, right? Like, what I coach to is I coach. The first thing I do is have people look at their finances and get instant.
hmm
Now, this is stuff that they've avoided for a really long time because it's a huge pain point. It's like
hmm
they've been in a financial rut for a long time. They don't know how they're going to get out of it. They feel helpless. They feel confused. They feel lost. All this stuff. But it's like until you address those emotions, you're not really going to pull the juice out of it because there's beauty in that struggle too. And you have to go through that struggle to come out a stronger person on the other side. And I think it's interesting. And I'm going to tie this into what Dan talked about too. Dan, I saw your comment there. I don't want it to go unnoticed, but you were talking about you want to avoid heartbreak, don't date. I'm going to disagree with that a little bit. And the reason why is because it's like if you just go through life avoiding every single emotion, you're not leveling up. You're not giving yourself a chance to go out there and potentially experience love again and potentially
Yeah.
experience something that you may not have ever felt. And now you're basically cutting off that life experience that ultimately you deserve to have because it may look grim for you right now, but you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And
that's why
like
I
that's
brought that
your
up.
life
That's why I
right
brought
there.
it up because I wanted to challenge Dan if he's still here, where you literally are running from like it's a responsibility. Like it's work. It's a relationship you got to work on for yourself as well as working on with somebody that you're going to be with. So I was going to say like that might like you say it out loud. Like, you're saying it. You're done with it. you're done with it because you're choosing to be done with it when it can start. It's like, okay, it's like whether you believe yourself, whether you can or can't. I think whether you can or can't do something, that is true. So if you want to be done with it, and let's say 6 months from now you're ready to fire it back up, that's a choice as opposed to saying you're done with it. So, and then I don't know, because I've heard that a lot. It's like something else. Uh, oh, I'm here. I'm here being a big boy. Sure, yeah. So to be able to work on relationship with yourself, and again, I want to get the coach's perspective on this. Coach Ashley, both of you, but
Yeah,
to
Dan, I'm
not, yeah, no. All I was gonna say is like to not work on a relationship with yourself or exercise a relationship with somebody. It's a muscle that goes dead. It's like working out. So it takes work. It takes time, energy, money, emotion, all those different things. But you can become sharper in that skill as opposed to dull. Because right now it can just be dull right now. And that's
yeah.
hey, if you're happy, then why not? But anyway, that's all I had to say about that. I want to get you guys to jump on that.
Dan's like, I'm done. I've done it. I'm good. He said my dog and I are perfectly happy. Now, Dan, I think that that is great. You're obviously content with where you're at right now, but you said want to avoid heartbreak, don't date. Say you're sending across a false message because that's not how everyone feels, right? So if you just think that every time you date you're gonna get your heart broken, well then what are you gonna want to do? Not date, right? And that's not always gonna be the case. You might date and find the love of your life and you're so happy and you're like, wow, I'm really happy I took that leap of faith and I spent time with this person, right? Also, if you're nervous to date, there might be some issues that you're internalizing, maybe some healing that needs to be taking place, some forgiveness, whatever, maybe forgiveness from your previous partner to be able to want to date again, right? But that's a milestone that you want to work through, right? And get to that point. Because that's not you just can't say that for everybody, right? And there's a lot of people that are very happy in their relationships as well.
Absolutely. So real quick, I'm going to jump on this question here. So FFE and GME, what's my prediction tomorrow? It's going to go absolutely wild. So if you have a chance to get in on FFIE and GME, do it. I'm actually making a video tomorrow about GameStop. So Sean, I know you want to talk a little bit about that. Ashley, welcome to the finance chat. So what he's talking about is stock prediction. So right now, GameStop, there's a guy, there's an influencer, and this is going to tie perfectly into what we're talking about. So there's an influencer, you'll start hearing his name, Ashley. His name's Roaring Kitty. And he actually, I'm just going to put it like blunt, he fucked over hedge funds back in 2019. It was beautiful. So basically the way hedge funds work is they will short stocks for companies for the profit of their for the profit of their clients. So they'll purposely tank a stock. So big businesses do it on purpose to profit their clients. So while average everyday people like us hold stock, you have big companies manipulating that stock all the time. So what Roaring Kitty basically did, that's his like username or influencer handle or whatever. He figured out about this shorting or this market manipulation that was supposed to happen back in 2019. He found out about it. And he told everybody on the internet because of the influence he had, hey, this hedge fund's getting ready to do this right now. And everybody, instead of allowing GameStop to tank, they bought GameStop. And it shot the price way up, which lost the hedge funds a bunch of money. Now, the guy that orchestrated the whole thing put a bet in on that for $53,000 and made $285 million on that. That's simply because of the marketing that he did and the analytics that he did. So what NDO is talking about right here is Roaring Kitty just popped up back on Twitter yesterday. And he's holding about $200 million worth of GameStop stock, and he's manipulating it again because he's trying to fuck over hedge funds. And here's what's interesting. What my video is going to talk about tomorrow is how hedge funds do this all the time. Like, this is commonplace for them. They'll purposely manipulate markets, yet they're never investigated for it, ever. It's just like, it's commonplace. So Roaring Kitty just did the exact same thing, and he's getting investigated by Massachusetts tomorrow. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. But I do believe both of those stocks are going to go up tomorrow. So sorry. So he's up 400 million. Thank you so much. So,
I'm learning
but
so much.
that's the power of marketing right there. So yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah. a lot of this stuff really just has to do with emotions, to kind of tie it all in. It's just like what I've noticed for me personally is if I can figure out a way based on, like, right now, obviously, it's hard for me. Here's what I've noticed myself, Ashley, is like, obviously I'm a debt coach. It's hard for me to make content on debt because people go into like an avoidant status with it. Like they don't even want to look at it. So
That's
what I've
interesting.
done, at least for my content on TikTok, is I'll play to this idea of separation. So like it's like the whole thing that we saw with Biden and Trump thing. It's like you got to look bigger picture than Biden and Trump. Like they want us to be in a society right now where we're choosing left versus right. At the end of the day, like I hate to tell you, both of them are bought and paid for. Like, I have my preference. I'm not going to talk about that on here. I have my preference, but I'm not going to fall into the trap of left versus right because that's when emotions get tied into it. And that's when
Yeah.
we start hating each other. That's when the left starts looking at the right and going, I hate these people. And the right starts looking at the left and going, we hate these people. Meanwhile, the people behind the scenes that are funding everything are profiting and benefiting off of everything that we do because of
Yeah.
those emotions that they're tugging on. And so,
Yeah.
like, what I've noticed in my content to kind of tie this all together is I've taken an us versus them approach where it's kind of like, okay, so hold on one second. You have all of these big companies out there that are sitting here making trillions of dollars on doing certain things behind the scenes, like Pelosi, for instance, is like the all-time winning trader in the stock market, even better than Warren Buffett, because she does insider trading as a politician. Yet, if we do insider trading as an everyday person, we're going to jail for 20 years. Like, that's what I've noticed. My marketing catches on, like, big time for that because it's such, like, a double standard when it
Yeah.
comes to finance. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I don't know. Sean, like, what have you noticed, like, when you're marketing for businesses, obviously you market a lot for small businesses, right? Like what types of approaches do you take? Because I know you're more of like let's throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Like, have you found that like what have you found has worked best, and what do you look for? Because obviously we know Ashley does analytics. By the way, Ashley, I had no idea you were an analytics person. Kind of geeky. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it
I
works
love
for
my
you.
analytics.
I don't fucking understand analytics at all. But Sean, what have you noticed?
So I do a lot of. I have to hire Coach Ashley for some analytics to better my statistics, but because there's
King
always a
FM.
layer. There's always a layer. Like I've always been obsessed with it. Like going on that really quick. Like when I was building Stick Chicks, uh, that whole brand back in the day of females that drive a manual transmission, that was getting like 3 to 5 million views. It was getting 3 to 5 million impressions per week on Instagram. This is when Instagram was a regular algorithm where it would just go chronologically.
Yeah.
Um, so that was the good old days versus they were just showing up like this post is 4 days old. I'm still mad about that, but that's a whole other scenario. But what I typically find for businesses that I work with is people want to know the details. They want to know if they can trust you. So indirectly, they want to know if they can trust you, but they also want to know why they need the service. So in this case, I work with a lot of home service and local businesses all across the United States. Like I'm working with a garage or repair company, chiropractor, two automotive and diesel shops, and it's anything in that realm. HVAC companies, and a lot of these services people need in an emergency. In any time in any market, people are looking for there's people that need that service right then and there in the case of like everyday stuff. Like I'm gonna get my oil changed, I gotta get my garage door fixed, I have to get my car fixed, I have to this happened and I need to get it done right now because it's an emergency. But other than that, there's a lot of people that don't know they need the services there. They don't have the education. So what I typically do with clients is educate them on why their AC might go out. I have the clients educate why their services is needed. Like this chiropractor, they offer so many different services like lumbar decompression. They offer TRT replacement for men, and they offer it, but it's all based on a problem that they always consistently seen in the market, and those are the snippets that I like to advertise that I see yield the biggest return when it comes to these businesses. Same with the garage door. People don't think about getting their garage door fixed, but if they hear a loud clink and they see a video on Instagram and they say, "Is your garage door making an abnormal amount of noise?" You might need to get that checked because that spring might be ready to break. They're gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, I have to call this company, and therefore I need you to come look at it just in case because I don't think this garage has been looked at a whole 14 years I've lived here." So I'm prompting around the expertise, and then I bite size that down into 15-second, 30-second, 60-second clips, and therefore I'll sprinkle that in with the actual work being done alongside with testimonials of people that have got the work done, and those three things work typically well. So it's like the action of the job, the education of the service, and then the testimonial of the clients that have already existed. And those three filmed consistently and advertised consistently in any home service or automotive business consistently enough and done in different ways and responded to with paid advertisements, those do exceptionally well because there's so many of these large conglomerates that don't do. They just use very generic. You've all seen them photos, and they're like, "This is why you need to get this done." Low emotions, not
Yeah.
anybody that they might work with. And for me, I'm like, guys, we need to get you guys on camera because if these are the people that you're going to talk to, I need you to talk to the camera like it's the consumer that you need to go fix their plumbing or you got to do that inspection. And so we're closing the gap with some video of somebody that they're going to speak with or have jump into their house, and it makes it easy for them to choose you as opposed to your competitors that all look generic.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm helping these markets win their local markets over because they're the only ones that have personality in their marketing, and that's where the opportunity is for me when it comes to working with the automotive and home service industry because they're so boring of their marketing. I'm like, we got to bring the emotion out of this, which is very simple, but it takes those that are willing to jump on camera like this, and that's typically their competitive advantage with our clients. So those are the three. Hopefully that brings everything in concise. But that's what I use for my advertising strategy, and then every business has their own story. So it's kind of 50-50. It's rinse and repeat with like certain topics,
Mm-hmm.
but the story is what makes it so unique to that market, which always brings enjoyment because we're getting to tell their story. Told their
That's
story. They probably
awesome.
recorded a video. Yeah, but nonetheless, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, here's what's interesting that you're talking about, Sean, which I've had to kind of like make two separate because I try to make a video a day. I've had to make two separate videos, one for TikTok and then one for Facebook and Instagram. Because
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying, like, oh, 30 seconds, 1 minute, TikTok hates that. It
Yeah.
hates short videos. Like, it used to be on here, it's totally flip flopped, where, like, they wanted the shorter videos to capture attention. But what they noticed was, and this is the reason why I think they're picturing TikTok as such a threat, is because TikTok now encourages longer form videos. They want
Yeah.
like 3 minutes and above because they can fit more ads in those amount of like obviously if you have a 10-minute video, they could put 4 or 5 ads in there, right? So
I
they're
heard
trying
that
to
they're going to
take
do an
amount
hour
of space
pretty
from
quick.
YouTube. What's that?
I was watching Patrick David. He was talking about that they're entertaining the idea of doing an hour, like expanding an hour on TikTok, where like you could put upwards of an hour video on TikTok. They're going to test that at some
I
point.
wouldn't be surprised if they do, to be
I
honest.
would
Real
totally
quick,
hope.
thoughts on TSE. I would not buy TSE right now. So, but yeah, no, it's just so Sean, you're in for a treat. So guys, let's try to help him get to 1,000. We're gonna start doing these TikTok lives, podcasts a lot more. You're gonna be able to see them on YouTube, and actually, that was something I was gonna share with you as well.
Oh yeah.
Is what me and Sean have noticed that catches on really big, especially when it comes to the podcasting space, is like you have to bring what you're talking about to market immediately. And I know me and him, like we'll go to a studio sometimes and we'll go record like professional studio, professional lighting, professional audio. The issue
Love
that
it.
I found with it, which it, I mean, we're going to continue to do it, but the issue I found with it is the topics you're talking about are dead, like 74 hours later or 72 hours
Yeah.
later. So it's like as we get the video back edited from where we go and we put it on YouTube, the trend's already gone. So it's
I
like
see.
what we're going to be starting on here, guys, is we're going to be starting something different, something new. No creators are doing what we're doing right now. We're doing a live podcast right now. You're getting all sorts of different feedback. We're getting feedback from you guys. We're getting questions from you guys, which is awesome. We're getting likes, comments, shares. That's a huge part of it. Now, remember, this is going to go on YouTube as well. So anything you guys put in here, any questions, it's not only helping everybody here kind of see things differently, but also anybody that watches this, well, now until forever, is also going to be thinking about things a little bit differently. So you're getting a little bit of everything. But Ashley, I know that you've been wanting to get on a podcast. Welcome, because you just
Yay!
started your YouTube, didn't you? I thought I
Yes,
saw like you did.
We'll do an
Yes,
in-person
I already have
podcast. That'll be
600
fire.
subscribers.
Listen, Sean, I've been talking to her for like 2 or 3 months, probably more, about coming to Arizona.
Oh,
But
it's done.
there's
It's
always some
done.
bullshit story about
Nah,
how
it's done. Nah,
I
Coach
decided to
Ashley,
go
it's done.
snowboarding instead because that sounded so much better.
I'm in the mix now, so it's inevitable now. So the podcast
Okay.
collaboration is gonna be insane.
I need to come. Like we just need to get it. And if we're gonna be doing a podcast, heck yeah. I'll
Oh,
be
is
there.
that all it took? All it took was like, oh, we'll just go in a professional studio and it'll be great. It wasn't the fact that I was like, oh, you can stay in my rental. Like, that's totally fine. Like, housing's already fucking taken care of for you. You just got to hop on a plane. It wasn't that. It was the, oh, we'll get on a podcast and make this happen. I should have just said that shit a long time ago.
Oh, it's done.
Yes. Yes, I'm sold now. That's all I needed.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, yeah. So it's been a good podcast. Any closing thoughts you guys have? Obviously, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, guys. So anybody that is in the chat right now or watching us on live, there's a lot of different things that we talk about. You know, like, one thing I was going to talk to you about, Sean. Did you see? We talked about Caitlin Clark. Ashley, do you keep up with Caitlin Clark?
Where's your
Yes.
jersey at, D?
Oh,
I
yes.
saw that she's being like bullied or something. Like I didn't see, but I kind of heard from somebody that she's like, I don't know, like that she like somebody pushed her or something, and
Oh yeah, she's getting roughed up.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. So me and Sean did a podcast like a month ago, and we were talking about how like obviously there's been this big conversation about how female athletes are underpaid. And
Yeah.
it's very interesting because if you look at the marketing that goes into the NBA as compared to the WNBA, it's like not comparable at all. There's just not a lot of money that goes into the WNBA, which directly correlates with the salaries that these females are getting paid. It has nothing to do with skill set because, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not stepping on the court with any of them. I don't want to be embarrassed. I'm good. But it's like Victor Wembanyama, who is the first pick in the NBA draft, makes like $23 million a year, and Caitlin Clark makes $75,000 a year. But there's some good news. So, Sean, I got some numbers for you. So I read an article today that Caitlin Clark is single-handedly bringing in 12,000 more fans per game than any other WNBA player ever.
Oh yeah, she's paying a price, but
God.
she's paying a price from a literal standpoint as a human. But her equity of her brand is doing something it's never. I've never paid attention to the dumb. I've never like put more glances. I'm getting closer and closer to looking at highlights where like I'm going on YouTube and watching versus I've ever been for any WNBA. It's never been a thought. It's not like I wasn't thinking about it. But she's done some. She's actually cold. She's cold blooded.
I got to get that jersey, though. You called me out on that shit. So
Yeah.
on our last TikTok Live podcast, Sean's like, you ain't shit if you don't get a Caitlin Clark jersey. And I was like, fuck. I was going to get one anyways. Like, I was legitimately going to get one anyway. So
I
hope
want
the
one.
WNBA gets more popular, then the women get paid more. So, Mad Hatter, it's actually, I totally agree with you 100%. I ran some numbers, and Sean, I want your feedback on this and yours as well, Ashley. But I ran some numbers, Mad Hatter, on how much the players get paid in the WNBA if you compare the revenue the team brings in to how much of a percentage the player actually gets. For Victor Wembanyama, he gets paid 2.3% of what the team brings in per year. Caitlin Clark gets paid 0.07% of what the team brings in. That's how skewed the numbers are. So it's like, for me, to see somebody like Caitlin Clark come in, like, this is a fantastic thing for female athletes everywhere. Like, I'm excited as fuck to watch the NBA or the WNBA. I've
I'll
never
actually
been
go to a
excited.
game.
Like, I would rather watch
I will go
that
to a
shit right
game.
now than the WNBA finals.
Same. Let's go
I
to
will
the
go to a
game.
game.
Let's
I'll go to a
go.
game. If she comes to Phoenix, that's what I'm saying. Like, if Caitlin comes to Phoenix, bro, dude, I'll go to WNBA. I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to
I
WNBA.
would too.
It's legit.
Legit. So that's gross revenue. That's not net revenue. That's gross revenue. But like, I don't know. Like, it's cool to see because we're living in such a different time marketing. You know what I mean? Like, even Caleb Williams, like, that dude is so polar. Like, you either love the guy or you hate the guy. So I'm from Chicago. So Caleb Williams gets drafted to the Bears, and I have a really good friend of mine who's a diehard Bears fan. Now, Ashley, have you seen Caleb Williams?
No, who's that?
Okay. Okay, so basically, he's like a generational like quarterback talent. The kid is like unbelievable out
We
of
will
college. So he went to
see.
USC, but he's
Okay.
very, let's just say he's very in touch with his emotion. He's
Okay.
he's hetero, but he'll paint his nails and he'll wear like dresses for GQ and like stuff like that. So like the menly men that watch the NFL are like, I hate this dude, hate this guy. And
Wow.
then at the same time, from a marketing standpoint, like it's the same thing you saw with the Travis Kelsey and
Taylor
Taylor
Swift.
Swift thing. It's like for the diehard NFL people, they hated seeing Taylor Swift on TV all the time. But at the
Yeah.
same time, from a marketing standpoint, the NFL is killing it. Like they know exactly what they're doing. They're attracting new audiences, you know? So it's like to think about marketing and how it's changed so much just from like what it used to be to like, okay, you have to capture attention, but also you almost have to kind of go against the grain. You have to kind of be different than what everybody else is doing. And it's like to
Yeah.
embrace that hate that Caitlin Clark is getting, Caleb Williams is getting, all these people are getting, that's what's winning in marketing today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's true. Do you think that relationship with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey was for marketing?
I personally firmly believe it. I just
Okay.
here's the reason why I think about it. I think of everything in terms of numbers. Like that's me. Like there's
Yeah.
money behind everything. Like if you
Oh
really
yeah.
break it down like that, right? So
Yeah.
if you look at like Travis Kelsey, like we'll just look at Travis Kelsey's life separately, and then Matt Hatter agrees with us 100% set
Okay.
up. So and then Taylor Swift, thank you so much for the. Is that
Thank
corn?
you.
We're eating corn up in here. Let's go. Ashley, you getting some corn. Sean
Let's
Seaver's getting some
go.
corn. Let's go. Strong bottle up in here.
Corn.
Love it.
What happened?
Appreciate you.
What's
Appreciate you.
corn?
Appreciate you.
What happened?
You just got corn, bro. Eat the corn.
What are you talking about?
So you get gifts, Sean. So everybody, Sean's new to TikTok Live. We're trying to get him to 1,000. Help him get to 1,000. We're feeling good. We're vibing. We're
Interesting.
chilling. So,
We're having a good
but
time.
if we get back to the kind of going back for a second here,
Let's go.
I look at Travis Kelsey like I study football like big time. I play fantasy football like I'm that type of dude. So Travis Kelsey is like getting ready to wind his career down right now. Like he's at the age where he's like 32, 33 years old. That's pretty much when you start to kind of wind down. You know that your time's coming. You got like 2 or 3 years left.
Body
So
feeling.
he's really been marketing himself like on his podcast. And he's doing a lot of like he's getting a lot of money from like Pfizer ads and like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So he's really like in the mode of building a brand for himself. So when he exits the NFL, the money's there for him. It's like what Gronk did. Gronk's the same way. Gronk is just, you love the guy because he marketed himself so well.
True.
And then you get Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift was the first person to ever make $1 billion on her tour. $1 billion because of her tour. And that lined up perfectly with the time that she was dating Travis Kelsey. So I'm just saying, like, if I look at it objectively from a number standpoint, like, I think it was set up. Like, I hope I'm not wrong because if that's what true love looks like, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But I'd understand the money grab too at the same time.
No, I think the NFL just squeezes the opportunity because I don't know, just they see it. I'm sure there's people around them that like urged it. Like it was like conversation, like, hey, you should talk to. If it wasn't them directly, it was those that were surrounding them, as far
Yeah.
as them goes. Because typically, people in that those people are in it like that. There's some variation of being oblivious. They're like, okay, I'll do it. Like I just imagine, them, okay, yeah, we're gonna, yeah, oh my god, I like you, really, I like you very much. In terms of just
It's the
what their
voice for me,
circle's
Sean.
doing, huh?
It's the voice for me.
I know, right? I gotta be. You're gonna be. It's gonna be crazy when
I
video.
can't wait to
This
see your
video.
face on here and your impressions.
It's
When
gonna be over. It's gonna be over. I like these. These are really good. Just to kind of go over that really quick. But overall, to finish the point on that, that there's people around the NFL and the network of they know the analytics and everything of
Yeah.
what they do, and so they're squeezing the relationships out of everything. Like that's why Caitlin Clark, but like all the controversies that she's getting, like there's always a bite size. There's always a snippet from her interviews, and then there's people just ripping it apart. So like the way I don't know. It's like there's like 25 people who are like, oh my gosh, she's so hot. And there's another 25 people who are like, she looks like a man. There's another 25% of people are like, she's not even that good. And there's another 25% of people are like, have you guys seen her highlights? So she's like she's got people's polarities on 9,000.
Oh yeah.
So, but going to the point of just there's people taking advantage of knowing the polarities. Like people know every time someone posts Taylor Swift, anytime Taylor Swift is posted, people are praying that Taylor Swift and them are not together because if they are, by the season comes about, this comment section be like, "Why are they posting her? Why are they doing
Right.
this?" That's all. That's 90% of the comments. Like this has nothing to do with football, which I get. It's just hilarious. It's like comical. It's like this whole live reality talk.
But it's like in Strong Votto, you're absolutely right. It's like 100 people are still talking about her, and that's like what me and Sean talk about, Ashley. And I want to kind of segue in a little bit and kind of get your feedback on it. But it's like attention right now is currency. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. Like I made a video about the Trump trial and how he was guilty, but when he was found guilty, he immediately went and made 2 campaign videos, went on TikTok, created a TikTok, and had like 30 million followers right away. He
Of course.
used that negative publicity for marketing
Wow.
because at the end of the day, like attention is currency. If you can do it right, it doesn't matter if like, and this is what Caitlin Clark and Caleb Williams are doing so well, is like, hate me if you want to, but I'm marketing the shit out of myself,
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that. That's wild.
Oh, you didn't know about the Trump thing?
No, I didn't know he made a TikTok. And
Yeah,
Oh
was
yeah.
yeah.
it?
So he
Oh,
like,
I'm gonna go
and it
watch
was
that
like,
today.
if you want to talk about insane marketing, he had this entire video ready, like as soon as there was guilty plea. So it was like, because naturally people are going to go into Google, right, and start searching his name and like, oh, was he guilty or
Oh
innocent?
yeah.
And it's like, you're going to go on Google and the first thing you're going to see is, oh, Trump is now on TikTok. Marketing genius, like absolute marketing genius.
And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Because I saw some comments. I was like, "This is a good point." I'm like, now they gotta keep TikTok because if Trump's on it, that plays to the simultaneous polarity. Not that they're gonna do it, but the American people are like, "Bro, we're keeping TikTok in America because Trump's like if Trump's running." That's like that's an invested play for like he's gonna get the youth to be like, "Who are you voting for, Trump?" Because
Yeah.
he's gonna keep TikTok because he's on it. Like think about it, he got on it and now right before the election, and he's like, I'm gonna squeeze it while simultaneously Joe Biden in the administration are like, we got to get rid of it.
Right.
So it's just very comical. That's very comical. That's a very comical strategic chess play where someone was like, Trump, we got to jump on TikTok just to spite Biden, and and on top of that, of course, take advantage of it. But a part of the reason was to spite the band of it. I promise you, it's gonna come up in conversation. It's gonna be so funny.
Well, I told Ashley like there's 0% chance. Like I just don't believe that they'll ban TikTok. Like what it really is like for me, this is a threat to Facebook. It's a threat to Instagram. It's a threat to YouTube. All of those are American companies. You have a Chinese company that's come in and dominated the social media space.
Oh yeah.
Like totally dominated it. And what it's really all about is what we were talking about before, the algorithm. The algorithm of TikTok is, I don't know what the hell they put in it, but it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life from a marketing standpoint. And like, that's what they really want. If you like dive into everything that these politicians are talking about and all these business people are talking about, it all stems back to the algorithm and they want to get their hands on it. And it's like what they don't realize is even if TikTok is forced to sell, because that's what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to force TikTok to sell. TikTok can easily just say we'll sell the entire brand, but we're keeping the algorithm. And if they
Yes.
keep the algorithm, all they have to do is bring that algorithm to another app. And then we
Yeah.
have a TikTok
We'll go
2.0.
there.
So it's like you lost, the American government lost. So it's like, why are you even doing this? You know what I mean?
Literally, yes. I said that too. I was like, the algorithm is the money maker for them. If they
Yeah.
don't have the algorithm, they don't care, right? At the end of the day, okay, nobody's gonna want TikTok without the algorithm. That's what wins. That's literally that's how we're all connected right now.
100%. Yeah. And Strong Vato, I love your comments in here. You are spot on with everything you're saying. I think like TikTok Shop was a big thing. If you look at the numbers for TikTok Shop compared to Amazon for Christmas, like TikTok Shop was killing it. And they were taking a big portion of the market away
I
from
love
Amazon.
TikTok Shop.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Listen,
I've never used TikTok Shop. Here's what I don't. I will be honest with you because I'm gonna be that polar, like, you know, I got to put some extra flair in it. I don't really like the whole TikTok Shop thing only because I don't know if this happens to you, Ashley, but I get the little notifications all the time that's like pitch our product, and then if you pitch our product, we'll give you X number of commission. It's like I appreciate that because I can appreciate the fact that they're creating jobs and opportunities for people on TikTok. What I don't like about it is it's like, bro, I'd rather just not focus on the sales of something. Like, I'll promote your product, just kick me like $300 for a 30-second video, and I got you. But that's the only thing that I don't like is TikTok Shop has become very like sales driven, and I just like I don't want to do that portion of it. Are you thinking about doing TikTok Shop, Ashley? Is that extra
No,
income?
Yeah.
but I did buy Purely White, and I will say that my teeth are white as can be, and I bought it off TikTok Shop, and I was like, I will promote this because it works. Like, I can't believe some of the stuff I've ordered on TikTok Shop and how good it is. Like, and it's like $5. Like, I mean, the prices are incredibly low, and the quality is incredibly good. Like, I can see why it exploded. Like, I'm living proof because there's things I bought from it that I'm like, oh my god, this is a great product, and so it makes me want to sell it because I think people should buy the same thing. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's crazy how it's taken off for sure.
How fast was the shipping? Like, I assume it's coming from China. Am I wrong about that?
I would think so because I mean I had my Purely White powder within like 3 days. I would say.
Are you serious?
I'm being dead serious.
Oh, Amazon's in trouble. Oh shit.
For sure. I like my TikTok Shop now.
That's
after this,
crazy.
I'm gonna go on TikTok Shop.
So Strong Vato's educating us right now. Apparently they have warehouses here. Because that was my thing with it, is I'm like, okay, like all this stuff is super cheap, but I've heard horror stories about like Etsy, and I've heard horror stories about like what's the other one? Oh, Temu.
Temu?
Yeah, Temu blew up too. But it was like everybody that I heard of that ordered for both of those, it took them like 30 days to get their stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, this is cool, but how long is it going to take you to get your stuff? And is there a Chinese kid losing his fucking mind making all of this stuff? so it's good to hear that they actually have warehouses here.
Yes. I love it.
Awesome.
I think
we're gonna start seeing Ashley plugging products, Sean. That's gonna be the next thing. She's gonna be the next QVC model out here.
No, she could do it. She could definitely do it.
100%. Like, she's gonna have a second channel right now that eclipses her first, where she's just pitching shit and just making a bunch of money. But I don't know. Like, the other thing to kind of think about too. Huh?
You said do it, Ashley. I said in due time.
100%. I just see Ashley on there, just a totally different getup, like not trying to intermingle her coaching business with her QVC ads. So she's just looking totally different with wigs on and shit. It would be awesome. It'd be so good. It'd be so good.
That would be great. Watch it become more popular than this channel. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're past an hour right now. So let's go ahead and wrap up with a couple different things here. So obviously, you know, the point of this podcast live is we want to be interactive, right? So we want this to be a community-based type podcast where it's not just us three sitting here talking about things, our experiences, our opinions. We want to make this so that you guys can put your thoughts in, your questions in, and really become a part of what we're doing and make this a community-based type podcast. So, Strong Vital, I want to give you a huge shout out for everything you've done. Thank you so much for the heart there. Make sure you follow Sean if you haven't, because
Oh,
Sean
he does.
needs to get to 1,000.
I'm
This
gonna get
guy,
there.
let me tell you, this guy looked like Tony Montana the other day with
Tony
his, like, he had the
Montana.
shirt unbuttoned like this, like, chest hair out, like it was glorious. It was
It's hot
glorious, and
out
we
here,
didn't get a
bro.
chance
It's
to
hot out
see it.
here. It's
So,
120 here, bro.
what's that?
I said it's 120 out here in AZ, man. You gotta
So,
breathe. And I was on the balcony.
no, I get it. So, Ashley,
Ah,
prepare for that. We just had a record day for June 6th here in Arizona. It was 112 degrees today.
oh my gosh.
Listen, here's what you
Oh,
do.
thank
Here's what you
you.
do. You stay in the house and you go to the pool. Those are the two
Okay.
things you do. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Because here's the thing, you never have to guess about the weather. It's going to be sunny every single day.
Okay, I'm there. That sounds like a tan made in
See,
heaven.
see,
So,
see, see. You get a tan and you get a podcast. So I mean,
No.
that strong
Oh yeah,
so there will be no cold plunges for me. Sean, do you do any cold
yes. Let's
plunges?
go. Let's get it. Let's
You guys
go.
have Sean. You guys have cold plunges at your complex, don't you?
Yes, that
Oh,
is correct, my friend. That's what I'm
that
gonna
means
do
I'm gonna
tonight.
have to
I
come
gotta
do
do
a
it
cold
tonight.
plunge.
I gotta do it tonight. It's hot now. I gotta be able to cool off now.
Do you do it every night?
No, not every night. When I first moved here, yeah, but tonight is definitely a cold plunge night. Maybe like 3 times a week, but it's great.
Ashley, would
Decompresses
you
the
do a cold plunge?
stress
what?
every day.
So, what is a
What?
cold? What is a
You don't
cold?
know what a cold plunge is?
It's just the ice bath. That's all it is. You ever take an ice bath? That's all
Oh,
it is. Yes, you know what it is. She knows what it is, Rick. Don't
why
you?
is it
Rick is about to
called
turn
that?
up. He was like, "You
Why is
don't
it?
know
Why
what
is
ice
it
bath."
just called an ice bath? Why is it called a cold plunge? Why you gotta do that to me?
Like you can get actual machines installed, and the machine is called a cold plunge.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and
I'm over
my
here on the
apartment
East
has
Coast.
that amenity.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
so
guys have all sorts of bougie shit over there, Sean. I swear to God.
we live in the Scottsdale, bro. So that's what it's all over the place.
I live in Scottsdale and I ain't got shit like that.
Well, different seasons for different reasons, you know.
Yeah, no shit.
No, but
So
this was fun. I definitely got to do this again. In general,
Yeah.
like
you'll
I said, the
definitely do it.
momentum of it, I'm excited about this, and it's going to devote me more time to spend more time on TikTok and grow it, which is going to happen. It's inevitable. So I'll join you guys. Even Miguel here, Strong Lotto, he's had some videos go viral.
That's what I'm talking
Uh,
about.
yeah, hit me up, Miguel. Let me know when you're here. So we haven't seen each other since Avima conference, which just sounds crazy, bro. So he used
That
to
is
be,
crazy.
yeah,
We were
he
closed
was
in like 15, bro. That's way too
yeah, he's
long.
in YPR. He's my plug right now. I have the last person I bought product from is from his affiliate link.
Oh, he can get Vima stuff.
Yeah, he gets
Oh,
Verve.
dude.
He's one of the long lasting affiliates.
Do
Like
you
facts.
have Verve at your house right now, Sean?
No, I don't now, but I did a couple weeks ago when I went to go see Nick. He still buys Nick
Oh
Ott. He
no
still
shit.
buys. Yeah, see, he said we was still here. It's still here.
So
But that's literally how we know each other.
Ashley, to kind of keep you up to date, so how me and Sean met is my first introduction to business was network marketing. So there was a company out here in Arizona. It was called Vima, and basically what they did was they created a healthy energy drink. Fucking delicious, the best thing I've ever had in my entire life. But they made like a business opportunity that was so good, where it was like it's a basic network marketing company. I don't know if you know how the structures of them work, but basically you get people involved. You get a sale like when they buy, but then every month that they continue to order, you also get points, and those points lead to monthly income essentially. So we
Okay.
had literally like it. We called it the YPR. It was the Young People's Revolution, but it was basically like a bunch of 20 somethings, people under the age of like 23, everywhere from 17 to 23, and everybody was making six figures doing this. Everybody. It was insane.
Wow.
And then, oh no, it was cool. It was super cool. The company got sued because we were doing some pretty, let's just say,
We were just
interesting
excited.
marketing stuff.
We were
So,
just excited about the opportunity, and there was kids at the time that were 20-ish, 18, 19 years old, making a lot of money, talking about stop drinking bad energy drinks and then start drinking healthy ones. Replace it with healthy ones. Instead of buying it every day, buy it once a month, and then get your friend to drink it. Then we'll get rich. So the message basically got skewed, and there's a lot of kids, and there was like There was the diss to school in terms of drop
Yeah, we talk
everything
a
that you're
lot of shit
doing.
about
Do
college.
this. That's
We would talk a
basically
lot.
what it was.
I remember in Arizona, so I lived on campus for NAU. And what we would do is we would literally go into classes at NAU and be like, dude, why are you in class? We're making six figures not going to college. What the fuck are you doing? This was our whole marketing thing. This is how we marketed. And we were making like crazy money. They were buying us cars and all sorts of shit. And then the company grew from like 25 million to 250 million in 2 years. And then the
Wow.
FTC, yeah, the FTC came in and they're like, hey, the way you guys are marketing is illegal, so we're gonna shut it down. And it was like, I'm not even gonna lie, it was so illegal. But what was super cool about it was the networking that you got. And like, so there is an audiobook that we had access to where this rich guy basically like came out and made this audiobook to teach people how to be rich. And it was like super expensive at the time. It was like 100,000 to attend this conference, but we were given like the actual information for free. And so we learned all this information about how the rich became rich. And so all these people basically use that information to branch off to their own specific, like, you know, whatever sector. So for me, I'm in finance, successful business in finance. He's doing small business marketing. He's having success. And it's like everybody that was in that company started their own business and everybody's thriving. And it was just simply because of like the culture that we built there. And just to kind of cap everything off, I think that's why like your community is doing so well, Ashley, is because you've created that culture. You've created that culture of like allowing people to feel those emotions and know that they have a support system. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's so important in marketing today.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's cool to kind of see like how we are all kind of doing like different types of marketing, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, you know, I don't even like to look at it that way. Like I truly just get excited to help people feel better about something that I've experienced myself. Like I've been in like the depths of depression because of relationships. So for me, it's like knowing like, oh, okay, I can like help bring people out of that, maybe even just a little bit one day, right? So it's like, you know, and just to kind of keep myself like, you know, kind of separating like, okay, yes, like this is like my livelihood, but it's also like how I like, you know, want to live my life, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of like doing that and looking at it that way. But yes, I think that's what's kind of cool about it. It's building that community. It's creating that environment and running with it.
Absolutely. So, to finish, community, that's what this podcast is all about. I want to thank all of you for tuning into the podcast. If you don't follow Ashley, follow Ashley. She has helped me big time for my own personal stuff, relationships, things like that. Sean, incredible guy. We need to get him to 1,000 followers. There's no reason why he shouldn't already be at 1,000 followers. So, anything you guys. No, we're making it happen, Sean. But
Oh, of
want to thank
course.
all of you for tuning in to the second ever TikTok Live podcast. You're a big part of what we're doing. We're excited to continue moving forward with this and just staying connected, creating to continue that culture, that community, and ultimately just being that resource for you to understand marketing, finance, and relationships. And no better team to do it with than everybody in this community and everybody you see here. So, love you guys.
Thank you guys for having me too.
Of
Appreciate
course.
it.
Of course. All right, guys.
Next
Bye,
time, definitely got to
guys.
do it again.
All right, guys. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.